Hello, everyone. Good morning to you, and I hope you're having a wonderful weekend out there. Well, I'm already getting ready for the new week, and the first commodity I'm going to be looking at this week is the XAUUSD. And on this note, I welcome you to yet another promising video tutorial as we take a technical dissection of this current market structure in anticipation of the last trading week for the month of March. Well, since this is going to be a follow up detail to my previous analysis, I always like us to have a quick review of the key moments that we had during the course of last week's trading session so that we can have a background knowledge of where we are coming from in anticipation of the new week. Well, we were lucky enough to be part of some profitable trading opportunity as we saw here how price action ranged within the $2,000 level and the 1,950, which gave us some selling opportunities as well and some buying opportunities. So, in that regard, let's review the commentaries for last week's trading session. So the week started on a bullish note for us on the XAUUSD as we saw price action did a breakout of that channel we identified between the 1990 and the 1970. And after the breakout of the structure, though we missed this move, and one thing we were looking forward to is price coming back to do a retest of that structure to give us that opportunity to buy the gold. However, that did not happen here, as we saw. Okay, I mistakenly uploaded the USD JPY, so I told us to disregard this. So on the 15 minutes time frame, this was what I was able to identify after the breakout of that resistant line. So we had this bullish trend line. We had a structure between the 1985 and the 1976, where I was thinking that a breakout of the 1985 will be a continuation of the breakout of that resistant line we saw here. And what happened afterward was quite interesting here as we saw how the 1985 level continued to reject all attempt by the buyers to break out of that structure. And what happened? We saw selling pressure continue, and it was at this point. Remember, we had a sell stop order just right below the 1976, and we saw price action break down that structure. And it was at this point we had our first sell position for the week. And we continue to rather move all the way to the downside, breaking down key structures like the 1970, welcoming additional position in that regard. And as you can see here, also we anticipated a breakdown of the 1960, and you can see what happened. I told us all to secure all position as it was at this point we were running with a total of 500 pips in profit at this time. We continue to ride the move all the way to the downside, closing in with about 900 pips in profit in total before we saw this consolidation phase begin between the 1945 level and the 1936, with the hopes that a breakout or breakdown of the channel will give us a signal of where price action will be going in the second phase. Then we saw the breakout of the 1945 level. Price action triggered our buy position, took us out of our sell position as we had our sell stop right around that area. And it was at this point we had this bullish momentum move to the upside during the FOMC, hitting the TP target of with about 500 pips in profit. So that was our second phase here. And we also, after the test of the structure here, we waited for some normalcy to come into the market in anticipation of another opportunity. We had a buy here, but didn't last long before we saw sell pressure resume just around that strong sell window between the 1985 and the 1976. And we anticipated the sell momentum, which gave us about, I think, about 70 pips thereabout before this bullish momentum came in to take us out of that position, triggering our buy stop order at the 1985. So it was quite a profitable week for us on the XAU as were able to make some buy positions and some sell positions at the same time. If you do want to have a quick examination of how we really took advantage of these trading opportunities last week, I will be dropping the link to this commentary in the in the description box below. However, if you are watching this video from my YouTube channel, you will be seeing the link to this commentary at the top right hand side of your screen. So, with that being said, here, let's dive into the current market structure where I want us to be taking a technical stance ahead of the new week. So, one thing I did here on the XAUUSD was to refresh my chart because I wanted to have a new look, new perspective into what is really going on from an holistic point of view. So I had to set up a new structure, lining up, mapping out the current market structure. And from what I could find out here, since the last quarter of last year, it is quite obvious that price action has been bullish on the XAUUSD. And to further buttress the strength of the buyers in this particular market, you can see that after connecting the series of higher highs here and the series of higher lows, we were able to identify a an ascending channel which buttresses how strong the buyers are at this particular point in time. However, if we zoom into what has been happening on this chart since the beginning of this year, let's zoom in closely so that we can see things more clearly here. So, since the beginning of this year, we saw the situation where price action did a final breakout of the 1,810 level, and price moved to the upside, came back to retest the structure here a couple of weeks ago, and we saw buy pressure resume from that area, taking price up to the upside. And in the last couple of weeks now, we saw our price action happen to have broken out of that 1,950 level to test the $2,000 level, a very strong psychological level in this market. And this is happens to be the first time price will ever get to this point during the course of this year. And you all know what happens when price action hits a new high. There is a high chance that buyers at this point are not yet acclimatized with that current structure, and it will take some time for price action to feel comfortable around that area. Hence, there will be some rejections, consolidation phases, retracement to gather some momentum to be able to break out of that structure. And if you look at what has been happening here in the last week, you will see that we have been witnessing multiple rejection of that area as sellers continue to negate all attempt by the buyers to break out of that structure. And to further buttress this, this also shares a confluence with the resistant line of that ascending channel. And look at what we have here. If we take into consideration the impulsive move that went to the upside here, it appears price action is transitioning into a reversal pattern in the form of a double top structure. But this is not yet confirmed anyway, as we need price action to break down the neckline of this potential reversal pattern to give us some validity to this current structure. So I'm of the opinion that we could have the neckline of that reversal pattern just around the 1950 level. In anticipation that price breaks down that structure, we could see a retracement to the downside, coming back probably into a key structure like the support line of that ascending channel in anticipation of that trend continuation to the upside that might finally break out of that $2,000 mark. And if you look at the structure here, the last time price action tested the support line at the $1,810 level, which also shares a confluence with that support line of that ascending channel, you will see that we had a double bottom structure here, which from a technical standpoint is a strong reversal pattern. And if we have the neckline of that reversal pattern just around this area, sharing a confluence with the 1,855 level, we might likely see price action drop, do a retest of that structure, which definitely shares a confluence with that support line of that ascending channel for another wave of bullish momentum to the upside. So this is one of the scenarios I will be looking forward to for this week. But before I go, I want to share a simple setup I was able to identify here on the lower time frame, as we could have a reversal pattern evolve around this area to signal a trend continuation to the downside, a sell-off in this market, or this current structure could evolve into a trend continuation pattern where a breakout of the $2,000 level will incite another wave of bullish momentum to the upside. But before I go into the details on that lower time frame where I told you I have a simple setup that we can use to guide our trading activity for this week, I want us to quickly look at the economic calendar to see the fundamental perspective to this market. Obviously, whatever technical structure we identify here, we need some liquidity, we need some volatility to drive price movement in whatever direction we have positioned ourselves. And most of this volatility and liquidity comes from this macroeconomic event, as major players in this market are looking forward to this event so that they can determine if they are going to be buying or selling at any point in time. So, with that being said, here I was able to pull out the macroeconomic calendar, and for this week, we only have a, an high impact event that will be affecting the US dollar, and that is the gross domestic product annualized. And from the data we have here, the previous data came in at 2.7%, and we have a consensus projection of 2.7 as well. So we really don't have any change in this one. So we are going to be looking forward to how what the data is going to be, what the actual data will be. Is it going to be as expected, below expectations, or beyond expectations? And one thing about the gross domestic analyze is that it's a high impact event that it shows us the monetary value of all the goods, services, and structures produced within the US economy over a period of time. And this definitely gives us a gross measure of the market activities because it indicates the pace at which the country's economy is growing or decreasing. So you would agree with me, it's an high impact event which we want to be looking forward to, and we shall definitely be seeing the reflection of this anticipation on the charts as price action. So we are going to be waiting until Thursday next week before this event comes in, and we might likely be seeing some consolidation phase ahead of that day. Now, with that being said, here let's scale back down into a much more lower time frame where I was able to identify a simple setup that we can use to guide our trading activity for this week. So here we are on the 4 hours time frame, and it's a very simple setup I was able to identify here, as you can see here. And one thing I did here is to focus on what has been happening in the last couple of weeks in this market. And if you look at the structure here, it's quite obvious that price action is bullish. And to further emphasize this, we connected the series of lower highs here to give us this resultant bullish trend line. And if we see what happened here as soon as price got into that $2,000 level, that very significant structure we identified on the daily time frame, you can see selling pressure resume around that area, hereby giving us a situation here where price is currently trading within a channel between the $2,000 level and the 1,935. And with the situation of things right now, price could actually continue to the upside considering the long-term bullish momentum in this market in such a way that price breaks out of the $2,000 level for the first time by pressure resume along this area, which also shares a confluence with that bullish trend line here to incite another wave of bullish momentum. So this is one perspective we are going to be looking at as well. So for this week, the bullish trend line identified here will be our yardstick for trading activity. As long as price remain above this trend line, we feel comfortable in our buy position. However, if price action breaks down the trend line here, which also shares a confluence with the key level I was able to identify here at the 1970, followed by selling pressure below the structure on our lower time frame, we'll definitely have no choice than to anticipate a bearish momentum to the downside. And a further breakdown of the 1935 level here will welcome additional position in that regard. So this is what I will be looking forward to this week on the XAUUSD. I hope this was more helpful in making your individual decision on the XAUUSD for this week. And if it did, Kindly support this project by clicking the like button. Be rest assured that I will be jumping in the comment section of this video as usual on Monday. After monitoring our participants in this market, will be reacting to the structure to give you an update on what my expectations will be during the early hours of the week. Thank you for watching this video. Kindly support this project, and I look forward to seeing you right in the comment section as usual as we get prepared for the new week. Do have a wonderful evening, everyone, and don't forget to follow me on my TradingView platform as usual. Bye bye.